You know, a thought occurred to me the other day. If humans evolved from monkeys like millions of years ago, then how come we still have monkeys today? For all the reviews and rants I've done on this channel, one genre I've never really tackled before is comedy. And for good reason. Hollywood lost the ability to be funny sometime around 2009, mostly because being funny involves making fun of things and people, which runs the risk of offending someone. And we can't possibly have that, can we? But for whatever reason, a change seems to be in the air. An awakening. Old comedy franchises are rising from their entertainment graves like failed actors at the sound of a live-action remake. We just had Happy Gilmore 2, which was, well, another late-stage Adam Sandler movie, and make of that what you will. But there's also Scary Movie 5 on the way next year, and Spaceballs 2, which has the almost impossible task of lampooning the Star Wars franchise. I mean, how the hell do you even begin to parody something that's already a parody of itself?
The power of many.
And in the middle of this confusing picture sits The Naked Gun, a kind of soft reboot slash sequel to the old Leslie Nielsen movies, this time starring Liam Neeson as his son, Frank Drebin Jr., who gets caught up in a conspiracy involving a corrupt tech billionaire and a beautiful woman out for revenge. And needless to say, many hijinks and funny shenanigans ensue. But does it work? Can Hollywood actually still do comedy in the year of our Lord 2025? Well, surprisingly enough, yes.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
I mean, I'm not going to pretend this is some kind of comedy gold that'll join the ranks of Airplane, Blazing Saddles, or Tropic Thunder. And sure, not all of the jokes land, but for the most part, The Naked Gun is a pretty decent stab at the slapstick, absurd humour of the original movies. Liam Neeson himself does a great job filling Leslie Nielsen's shoes. He's got decent chemistry with Pamela Anderson, for obvious reasons. Director Akiva Schaffer from The Lonely Island definitely understood the assignment on this one, and the plot makes just enough sense to keep you invested in what's happening. And on that subject, I know the actual storyline for a Naked Gun movie is about as relevant as Amber Heard at this point, but it wouldn't be a review if I didn't at least try to give you the gist of it, so here goes. The movie centres around Frank Drebin Jr., who's followed in his father's footsteps by serving as a detective with Police Squad, where he foils a bank robbery single-handed. As it turns out though, the robbery was nothing but a distraction so that the bad guys could steal a plot device called, plot device. I see what you did there, you cheeky boys. Anyway, Frank's soon called off to another case where a software engineer for a big tech company died after his car rolled off a cliff. Frank reckons it was suicide, but the man's beautiful sister Beth believes he was murdered and wants revenge on whoever did it. Reluctantly, Frank begins to investigate, and the trail eventually leads him to Richard Kane, a tech billionaire who plans to use the plot device to wipe out most of the human race so that he and his mates can take over the worlds. Yeah, sure, okay. So basically it's up to Frank and Beth to figure out where and when Kane is planning to use the plot device, stop his evil plans, save the world, and get the police squad reinstated. Now, following in the footsteps of a guy like David Zucker, who basically perfected the slapstick parody movie over the past 4 decades, was never going to be an easy task, but credit to the team behind The Naked Gun, they came pretty damn close. There's plenty of running gags, like Frank constantly getting handed fresh cups of coffee every time he shows up anywhere, and running people over while he's blissfully driving and monologuing. There's all the usual absurd dialogue and ridiculous situations you'd expect, delivered in the same deadpan style as the original movies. As Mr. T once said, it takes a smart man to play dumb, and that's exactly what The Naked Gun achieves. And credit to Liam Neeson on this one, he's not an actor you normally associate with comedy, but his sense of timing and his ability to deliver the most insane lines with the kind of dead serious gravitas you'd expect from a Taken movie really makes him the perfect replacement for Leslie Nielsen. Danny Huston is an ideal foil for him as Richard Kane, an eccentric tech billionaire who made his fortune in electric cars and renewable energy, but actually harbours sinister plans to destroy half the human race. Is that a reference to something?
Go yourself.
Like, Houston's been playing villains for most of his career, so he knows exactly what he's doing with this one and doesn't miss a beat. But it was Pamela Anderson who really surprised me here. She seems to be going through a bit of a career renaissance now that she's not under pressure to be a sex symbol anymore, ditching her sleazy past to take on more interesting and challenging projects. But as she proves here, she doesn't take herself so seriously that she can't laugh at her own public image. She's got a decent flair for comedy, she's not afraid to act goofy and self-deprecating, and her chemistry with Neeson feels natural and believable because, well, apparently it is. Oh Liam, you dirty dog you. Ultimately though, while The Naked Gun didn't exactly have me rolling in the aisles with its comedy genius, it did just enough to raise a few laughs and keep me decently entertained for its refreshingly short and sweet runtime. And I don't know man, there was something pleasantly nostalgic about this kind of humour that reminded me of a happier, less fractured and divisive time in entertainment. A time that I think all of us would quite like to go back to. It's actually kind of interesting that so many old comedy franchises seem to have chosen this particular time to come back for more, and honestly, it's difficult to tell what the motivation is or what it might actually mean. Is it a sign that Hollywood's finally had the self-important, self-righteous stick removed from its arse and is ready to laugh at the past 10 years of insanity it's indulged in? Or is it just that every other genre's been remade, rebooted and relaunched more times than Madonna's face, and comedy is the last patch of virgin ground left to be exploited? I don't know for sure, but if there's one thing the message, and those who push it hardest and loudest absolutely despise, it's people laughing at them. So if this is a sign of the changing times, well, I think we're all ready to start laughing again. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.